Hello sanibonani babukeli, sesifikile thina nentandokazi yohlelo leni Yilungelo Lakho. It's your right. Siza kuninda labo khoma kumahamba phambili SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Mbukeli lolu uhlelo olundethela izindaba, izixwayiso kanye nako konke ukuthinta wena namalungelo akho njengomthengi. Lona ke umajali uMazikhala ushongo lolo ngisabukulibamba, ungangibiza uAlisha, ungangibiza uNhlanhla, amagama wonke la umbukeli. Sithi ke the festive season is just a few weeks away mbukeli, and while it is time for uthando nenjabulo, it is also a time that we are more exposed to ubugebengu, and one of those we must now guard against is of course a variety of scams that are currently making the rounds during this festive season. And as our lives are heavily reliant on technology for a variety of things including banking, ama scammers now seem to be always ahead of the game. Ingabe ke mbukeli siphepha kanjani ke kwizigebengu ezisebenzisa itechnology ukuthi basihlukanise nemali yethu sisebenzele kanjima kanjena mbukeli. Call us on 011 714 0670 consumer@sabc.co.za is our email address. Sikhona futhi on Facebook and Twitter. Welcome to the show. Yebo mbukeli ukhuluma kabanzi ke ngodaba lethu asamukele ubhuti Kwanda Vabaza yena ke from the office of the Ombudsman for Banking Services lana eMzansi. Sibe nayo ubhuti Ntshiki Maluleke from SABRIC yena ke uzositshela kabanzi ukuthi basebenze kanjani babhala nereport ya 2022 ukuthi iziphi izinto abayitholile ukuthi zenza abantu bahlukane nezimali zabo kodwa bengakaze baye bank bakhiphe imali. Gentlemen, sanibonani, good afternoon. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. Baba Ntshiki. Hi. Ngiyaphila baba Ntshiki, kunjani?
Sibingelana nababukeli.
Siyakwamukela kwishow baba. Usitshele kancane nje ngokuthi iSABRIC nisebenza kanjani? Awukhumbuza abalaleli emakhaya.
SABRIC stands for South African Banking Risk Information Center. Sithola imandate yethu for mama member banks wethu basinikele member imandate yokuthi silwisane lobugebengu bwenzakalayo emabhenki. Okwamanje sisebenzisana kakhulu namaphoyisa beDPCI, sisebenza kahle kakhulu nabase NPA nokulwisana lobugebengu, siabelana ama strategies ukuthi bayenza kanjani lama MO siyabiza methods of operating. So okwamanje siyabona ku digital banking space
ngathi kunzima impela
kakhulu. Sibona ama figures although siyayehlile, but since sivele lo mhlukhuhlwane we-COVID sibona abantu bashifta kakhulu baya ku online banking space, baya ku digital banking space ngoba indawo leyo iphephile ukuthi bayenze ama transaction khona. But kune MO la siyabona uthole kunama fishi, kunama vishi, kunama sim swap, kunama lento le social engineering kakhulu. So all these things bayenza social engineering.
Baba Ntshiki, awume lapha yazi ngifuna singene kahle kule discussion because nansi report yenu eniyenzile as SABRIC ithi annual crime statistics 2021. Sizokhuluma ngama figures la oqeda ukwasho uthi ngamukele nobaba Vabaza lana e-studio. He is yena the communications manager ke e-office le Ombudsman ye Banking Services. But Kwanda siyakumukela baba. Ositshele kancane uthi nino wena umsebenzi yini niyasebenzisana yini neSABRIC kulomshikashika?
Sawona majali and to ababukeli beYilungelo Lakho.
Yes.
So thina Ombudsman for banking services, so umsebenzi wethu basically is ukuxazulula izinkinga zama customers nama bank abo. So umuntu noma ubani, as long as une bank account and you have a problem ne bank yakho and ibank yakho ayifuni ukukusiza ukuxazulula leyo nkinga, then uza kuthi thina for free of charge sokusiza ukuxazulula leyo nkinga yakho.
All right. Well, gentlemen, siyabonga kakhulu ukuthi nizile lana. Baba Ntshiki, I'm going to come back to you because sesikhulumile kancane nje kancane ngale report, but awusitshele awuqhubeka ukuthi ama findings wena atholile. I mean ukuthi iCovid ilimite the in-person interaction yama banks nabantu ukuthi bazofaka imali. Siyabona lapho ukuthi ama figures ayasho ukuthi lokho kwehlile ukuthi abantu bangene phakathi ebanki baskeme. So manje bathole enye indlela ukuthi yazini since labantu asisababambi ngaphandle kwebanki kumele singene online njengoba sesebenzisa ama apps. Sithi ke lokho sigwema kanjani?
Yona le inkinga kakhulu. Although sibone masishiftile sise online okwamanje sikwazi ukuyenza ama-transaction yethu endawo ephephile but basitargeta nge-social engineering element.
Okay.
Social engineering bakwazi ukuthi bakutargete baharvest i-personal information yakho.
Kanjani baba ngoba kune-POPIA Act nje esasikhuluma ngayo like to great lengths ukuthi iyona ezokwazi ukuthi kuvimbeleke ukuthi i-information yabantu ingatholakali nje isezandleni ikakhulukazi zezigebengu.
Sibona nama-data breaches lawo ezakalayo. Ama-data breaches batarget ama-credit bureaus lawo bakwazi ukuthola bits and pieces ye-information, personal information yakho. Okwamanje manje bayuza social engineering ukwenza ukuthi bafonele bapretend ngathi babuya e-banking yakho. So uma bakushayela lo cingo kuna i-phishing element is voice over IP. Izobonakala lapha smartphone wakho masinama-call ID ngathi ivela ku-bank lakho. But how say usicocise ke sinike OTP, sinike ama-username. So sithi ababukeli bangaphindi bangasherishi leyo information because information, personal information, any personal information imele ibe kubo.
Okay.
Nama one-time password, RVN, random verification numbers, communicate.
Okay, all right, but Kwanda, I mean, what are some of the most prevalent cases and common cases enwatholayo nina njengelokhuzana njenge-office le-Ombud?
So, as much as SABRIC ngiyabona bona babona izinto the decreasing the scams
ezenzakalayo.
But yeah, Tina, I think from our side and from the number yama complaints esitholayo, Tina, unfortunately we're not seeing lento abayibonayo.
Okay.
Tina is still constant, and if they're not going up.
Very interesting, because inendila ngalama complaints but Kwanda.
Yes, and it's and hence I'm saying it's interesting. And njengoba actually social engineering, and we see, I mean, abantu, for instance, on social media, I mean, you see people, some competitions, for instance, people asking you, what's your favorite color, what's your name, or date of birth, and all that. That's social engineering, because that information, who's compiling that information, exactly, they compile that information, and unfortunately, they share it with fraudsters. So, Tina, isn't this one, like I'm saying, yes, we see our vision, people still falling victim to fraudsters about pretending at Babuya Bank. We still see phishing, for instance, people clicking on these links that they think it is Buya Bank, and you know, it's just fraudsters. And we still see, funny enough, cash deposit scams where people are advertised via social media. But, you know, the fraudsters, they're so smart because they trick them into first making a payment before abantu seeing exactly what they're buying. So we're still seeing a lot of that happening. And as much as, yes, there is education from organizations like SABRIC, like ours, banks, Ntshiki, unfortunately, like I said, Tina, we're still seeing those things happening, and they're not decreasing.
Very interesting point, Leopold Kwanda, because I was about to say, Uguti, we are constantly, Tina, on this show, umsebenzi wethu to remind abantu not to give away their personal information, to read before they sign, and to just be generally self-aware and vigilant when it comes to izinto ezinjena. But it seems like we're not reaching the intended targets, and abantu every year we're going to get calls lana Mrs. Vulincingo uzozwa abantu bekutshela. Even before we started the show, already people are saying imali yami disappearile bank, but I don't know how. You know, so how do we then drive the awareness around ukuthi abantu babe vigilant? Where do we start, Babu Maluleke?
See, heavily driving awareness kuma websites, see drive awareness kuma social media, see Instagram, sina ku Facebook, siku ku Twitter, and senza nama advert. Siqeda kwenza campaign ye mule account okwamanje. But ibalulekile kakhulu ukuthi what kind of message are we
exactly
driving? Siyenze ukuthi ufikelele lapha emakhaya, ufikelele lapho kugogo nomkhulu, because yabona amanye MOs athayeta kugogo nomkhulu.
That's another thing I wanted to ask. When about Maluleke ukuthi who are the primary targets kulezi zinto? Because according to a report lenu lithi i-loss per ilokhuzana case was anything from 33,000 and above that. So these are basically abantu that have got a huge chunk of money or something in their account ukuthi umuntu angakhona ukuthi ahambe no 33,000 or 30,000 and above.
And we are our figures. That's why I see a quote in that fashion. Okwamanje sibone a huge increase in terms of 45% le increase. Le bonakala uthi the fraudsters are targeting everybody now. That's why they are no longer they are vicious. They are targeting wonke umuntu ngoba ba targeting ukuthi hayi bazenze social engineering basenze bafone bathi hayi bashaya icingo bathi hayi no ugogo nomkhulu sikuinstalela i-app leyana le i-app sizokwazi ukusiza
ukuthi ne-app ukuthi yini bandla
digital divide, you know.
All right, well Mbukeli ungasithinta la e-studio usibhalele i-email siyabuya khona manje. We are talking about the prevalent scams uma wena usebenzisa i-bank noma i-banking app usithi i-technology bakwethu kumele siyifundise nogogo nomkhulu emakhaya zonke indawo. Sicela ukuthi nisithinte la e-studio mangabe uneyinkinga. We're coming back shortly after this ngayindawo. We're ready. Welcome back. You're still watching Yilungelo Lakho live on SABC 1 Omzansi for sure. Hleli nomajali. I am not alone in studio. Nobaba Kwanda Vabaza. He's the manager of communications, the Ombuds for Banking Services South Africa, alongside Ntshiki Maluleke, who's the head of SABRIC Center of Excellence. Ungasfonela ke Mbukeli la studio 011-714-0670. Unfortunately, bantu bami ngineline e1 esebenzayo namhlanje, but usengasithumela i-email to consumer@sabc.co.za. Siyatholakala futhi ku Twitter as well as on Facebook. The topic today, sikhuluma ngama banking scams njengoba abantu sebazi ukuthi abasakhona ukunimele khona banicuthele lapha baniphuca imali zeni sebengena kuma app bangena ko WhatsApp bangena kuyo yonke indawo. If you've been a victim of such a scam, sicela usithinte la e-studio sibone ukuthi singakusiza kanjani. All right, so gentlemen, maybe let's talk about this. Babu Maluleke, let's talk about the prevalent cases, particularly phishing, ne-vishing, nale ama WhatsApp scams. How do criminals then use these type of amalokuza nama scamming types of ulokuza ugebenga abantu to get into people's account, for lack of a better word?
I-phishing siyabona bathumela ama unsolicited emails.
Okay.
Bathi qofa lapha kwi-link and abantu bayaqofa lapha ku-link zikuyisa kuma-spoofed websites.
And apparently lama email abawasendayo nama logos that look like the actual bank, so it's very difficult even if now ufundile to distinguish between the actual one nale yama scammers.
Even nama tech savvy abakwazi ukuyehlukanisa. Iyafana is exact replica ye-financial institution lo bank anayo, or alternatively sibone my example recently during SARS e-filing.
Yes.
Bathumela exact replica and bayithumela lapha bathi qofa sinike personal information, sinike ama password, sinike ama pin code, and as they say we call it man in the middle attack. It is in the same place. Mawuqofa ufaka le information yakho, personal information, bona bayisa ku bank yakho bayenze automatical transactions because of authorizing. Bayicombine futhi nema SIM swap, or alternatively bayibiza number porting.
Okay.
Inumber yakho mayingathula sithi ababukeli, my number yakho mayingathula, first thing communicate with your mobile service provider, or alternatively communicate in a bank yakho ubacelele ukuthi bafreeze ama account wakho, because ngoba ingaba busy nge-SIM swap or busy nge-number porting. So okunye lokubonayo ku-voice over IP yilo ya-vishing. Bakufonela bayenza i-social engineering, bayipretend ngathi base-bank call center. Bawungazwa ne-sound zakhona i-background ungacanga ukuthi umuntu uzivela
use-office
and uthola ukuthi abase-office, and sibona lento le baharvesta personal information, baharvesta ne-banking information, bakwazi ukuloga, after baloga bayenza ama-transaction, fraudulent transactions on that platform. So sibona futhi kuma-WhatsApp scams, ama-WhatsApp scams mostly ba-targeting cash send. Cash send facility. Bayakwazi ukuthi bathi hayi no sithumele i-pin code, athi hayi no ngiyenze iphutha, sisi ngiyenze iphutha, mhlawumbe athi amajali ngiyenze iphutha, ngithumele inumber le
ngivala ucingo mina
uzoba wenze kahle banje.
But iziphi izinto esingazenza maybe wena but Kwanda as well to protect ourselves? I see we've got i-graphic lapha yana, but iziphi izinto esingazenza as consumers besides of course being vigilant, njengoba siqeda ukukhuluma manje ukuthi abanye they're so good ukuthi you literally cannot tell the difference between the fake and the actual letter from the bank. So sizivikela kanjani?
I think ukhulumile about responding to unsolicited emails, for instance, from a bank or someone a pretender ukuthi ubuya ebank yakho.
Phela wazi wena but kwanda ukuthi uyapretenda lo muntu, you don't know that it's solicited. When uzobona i-email, ubona i-text, ubona i-WhatsApp, uzongena ulandele leyo link. How do we first determine those things ukuthi this one looks a bit suspicious? Awuthi ngiqale nje ngibuza ibank eqala.
But I think in all honesty, one, if you're not expecting an email from a bank yako and this email that you just received manje, icela your banking details, your confidential banking details, then for me, that's a tick. There's something wrong with this email. And then from as soon as obviously you suspect and you become suspicious, then immediately phone a bank yako and you do not call or phone a number that you see on that same email. You now obviously need to either Google the bank's fraud department. You call them, you alert them as to this email. Bona bazokutshela ukuba yes, iphuma from bona or not. And this also applies again to whether it's phishing where someone calls you. Now, and I always tell people that it does happen for a fact ukuthi bank yako calls you if there is fraud eyenzakala ku-account yako. It does happen, they call you to ask if are you the person or transactor or not. But the one thing I think that differentiates or separates that call from a fraudulent call would be when this person now is asking, for instance, for your OTP, or they're asking for your passwords or your PIN or your card number. Then if they start asking that information, that's a fraudster. Then you hang up and then you call your bank again as soon as possible. And even with the SIM swaps, Tina, as much as yes, it's important to contact your service provider, but I think, Tina, from our side, we deem it very, very important to immediately, as soon as you lose connectivity because of a SIM swap, or you get a message, an SMS saying a SIM swap is being done or number porting is being done, and you know for a fact you never applied for such. Tina, we advise, as the Ombudsman for Banking Services, for people nalapho to immediately call their fraud departments, the bank's fraud department. Then after that, they can call their service providers to obviously complain about the SIM swap.
So kumele baqale bavale bank ukuthi le mali ayingahambi bese bedila ne service provider ukuthi uyishintsha kanjani number yami ngingakakutshela ukuthi uyishintshe.
Exactly, that is Tina, our advice.
Okay.
Actually, so.
All right. Thank you, Kwanda. Let me take Sis Thobeka Engcobo on the line. Sis Thobeka, thank you so much for joining us and staying on the line. Singakusiza kanjani namhlanje?
Diphile sisunjani wena?
Ngiyaphila sana sami, singakusiza kanjani namhlanje?
Yesisi nengxaki apha. Imali yami ndihleli apha endlini esofeni ndibone nathi ihamba. Kuhambi 150 kuphinde kuhambi 100 rand. Ndithi ndayijonga lento hayibo lento ibindityele kulezi kupheleyo. Ndisathi ndizaye ebhankini ndithi mayo reverse nathi lento iphinde. Kukho ubhuti ngolapha ecala kwami ndimxelele lento. Athi lo bhuti hayi le mali yakho ityiwa ngumuntu olapha endlini olapha kwakho wazi ID number yakho. Ndixhume ngoko nagoko ndiletha komnye umfana ohlala apha endlini nami. Xa ndifika hayibo le mali le 150 ilifoni ithi kandifika le 150 yore kulo mntana le 100 rand yore kulo mntana ndibe sendibiza umyeni nami simbeka apha lo mntana sifuza le mali uyithatha kanjani. Athi yena wenze into uguglishe into ekuthiwa ngumomo uyithatha nge-ID number yami. Ndikuxela ke ngokusisiko samngxolisa umntana ndathi ndiphile nge-13 ka-Agasti waphinda umntana wabetha ke ngongaphansi wabetha nge-20 rand 50 rand nge-19 kaSeptemba nge-25 kaSeptemba nge-26 kaSeptemba ubani nathi ngantoni idate sambamba ke ngobana sisifuna umngcolisi siza kubambisa ngamapolisa waqoma lo mntana makavele ahamba abheke eRhawutini uthe nje ndihamba ebheke eRhawutini wabetha nge-300 qaba ile yakhwela ngayo ngoku abheka kumamakhe. Apha ngezi-25 ngithetha ngezi-25 ezingozale minyanga ndithi ndawuthi hayibo nasi 200 lo mntana uphinde wayetha ndifonela amakhe ngoku ndiyambuza yewothi umntana wakho uyayitya mfondini imali yami and mna ndixake ubanza kwenze kanjani ebhanki ndiyile Capitec abayazi eCapitec uba mabathini. Ndikuxoba ngosisi into endiyenzayo kwawungena imali eCapitec kwam nditransferela komnye usisi ohlala apha endlini okokoko imali yam nditransferela komnye usisi ndikuhlala nemali ebhankini ngoba ibhanki ayiyazange uba mandiyithini.
Okay.
mandenze kanjani.
Okay, inkosi mamthobeka siyabulela nemama khawumame lapho kumabona kude wakho ba singakusiza njani. Mbukeli mangabe uyasifonela siyacela ungalibizi igama lebhenki obhenka nalo noma indawo okhuluma ngabo because asazi ukuthi bona bazothini ngalelo site, but siyabonga kakhulu kumamthobeka. Gentlemen, this is a very not a normal modus operandi, but ikhona iyenzeka but Kwanda ukuthi uthola ukuthi izingane izona ezigebenga abantu abadala ekhaya just because abazi ukuthi all these things zisebenza kanjani. But Maluleke, awuchaza lesi scam ukuthi umuntu uzothatha imali just because they have access to inumber yakho and nihlala nayo endlini. And why can't banks then assist in that manner?
We do assist, but siyibiza i-fraud friendly. Bayibiza yenza people who are close within your proximity.
Okay.
Family members, relatives, or who have access to your device. Bayenza ngalolu hlobo. Uthole, but as the caller was saying, uthole i-device yakho bakwazi ukuyi-pin code, bakwazi ukuyivula.
So ukuthi sibeka yonke into asinawo nama-password kumafoni sihlele endlini sithi sihleli nefamily.
Kakhulu. And sibona bathenga imbani, bathenga ama-airtime, and no is a caller ushilo but bayenza ama-cash send. Ayenza i-cash send awakwazi ukuyikhisha imali kuma ATM or alternatively kuma lento banking side.
So then you advise to Umamthobeka, but Kwanda, what can she do? Can she approach you guys? Because apparently she's approached the bank and the bank was like, well, we can't do anything because umuntu enhleli naye lona endlini.
I think I must say that's very concerning from our side.
Yeah.
Because as soon as a customer you go kwi-bank yakho or report ukuthi listen there is fraud eyenzakalayo my account, then irresponsibility shifts to e-bank to try and find out how is this fraud taking place.
Yes.
And obviously upon identifying it, okay, this fraud is happening because someone is using your bank card, then responsibility is we bank to inform UCC, for instance, in this method, to say, CC, your bank card is compromised, cancel this card.
Get a new one.
Get a new card, exactly. And make sure that you do not share your PIN with anyone. Now, in this instance, UCC, she went to a bank and reported it, and she was not assisted.
Yeah.
Now, in Jengobabo Social now, unfortunately, this is just one side of the story.
Yeah.
But I would definitely advise UCC to lodge a complaint with the Ombudsman for Banking Services. Let us investigate and see what really happened.
Okay.
Now, I'm not sure if it was just a cash send or not. And I think it's important, again, for people to understand, for fraud to take place with account Yako, people do not necessarily need to have access to your physical card. And, like online card fraud happens because people have your card number, they have the CVV number, and as long as they have that information, unfortunately, yes, possibly they may commit the fraud. And it's on you as the customer to make sure that you do not disclose the information or just leave ikhadi lakho lying around.
All right. Okay, sabonga kakhulu Kwanda ngaleyo advice. Mamthobeka eNgcobo uyasho Kwanda uthi ungaya pha kwinantsika uapproach ioffice yabi Ombudsman ucele uncedo and tell them uba wenzakaleni xa usiya ko complain ngebhanki. Mbukeli nawe you can also do the same. Do call us. We're back shortly after this break. Ngayindawo. Busy ngama-banking scams lana mangabe une-app wena yebhenki lapho efonini yakho mangabe ushiya amakhadi akho elele noma abantu bane-access to i-personal information yakho bangayithatha leyo information bahambe nayo bayoyisebenzisa ukuthi bakhiphe imali yakho. My guest today Kwanda Vabaza, the Manager of Communications for the Ombudsman for Banking Services lana eMzansi, alongside Ntshiki Maluleke, who's the head of the SABRIC Center of Excellence. Ungasifonela-ke la Mbukeli e-studio 011-714-0670. Anonymous on the line, thank you so much for joining us. Akwamukela ohlelweni, singakusiza kanjani?
Hello, njani na?
Siyaphila baba, unjani wena?
Siphilile. Okay, ngifuna ngise-Davidton, ne?
Yebo baba.
Yeah, yazi what surprisingly ngiphoyisa ngajoina from 1989 up until manje.
Yebo baba.
But I thought ukuthi ngiyabazi ubutsotsi abo-card ini. But on Friday kule viki esidlula kulo esibuya kulo ne?
Yebo baba.
Ngaboma-7 kanje. Ebusuku.
Yebo. Kwenzakaleni baba?
Yeah, ngibone efonini kungena 19,000 rand.
Okay.
Right. Hawu ngisamangele ngisabhekile after 2 minutes kungena i-call.
Yeah.
I-call somebody uthi hey man sorry ngithumele imali kuwe ngemistake bengithumela ku somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Uthi kimi ke but ke nangu lo muntu sekafikile la endlini usho yena kwakhe lo muntu uthi uzofuna lo mali so bengicela wenze kanje uthumele i-1,000 rand.
Hawu. Okay.
Uyezwa ukuthi ihamba kahle.
Ngezwe baba. Yebo. Silalela. Baba Anonymous.
Yebo.
Qhubeka baba.
Yeah. Athi ngithumele 1,000 rand and then kushuthi kuzosala 18,000 rand.
Okay.
Kule 18,000 rand ngokuthembeka kwami ngithathe 2,000 rand usho kanjalo ukuthi ngithathe 2,000 rand and then lenye ngiyekele uzangifonela mase kufanele ngiyithumele back kuye.
Okay.
Yeah. Number 1 kube ne problem ukuthi even the language ngiyayizwa ukuthi man noma sekuthiwani lo muntu ukhuluma isiZulu but akusumsuthu akusenyabona nje njengoba ngisho ukuthi ngisebenza ngabantu kube khona nje izinto enyane yabona engizinotisayo. Yeah. Ngithi mina kuye okay no problem drop phone yabona.
Yeah.
Ngiyachecka angithi khona izinto ezibhekayo mangabe mhlambe into ivela directly ebank.
Yebo.
Kunama nambanyana mhlambe sithi ama serial code wabo EFT bani inini yabona. Ngibheka hayi lento is straight man ayibonisi nokuthi ivela ebank yabona. Yeah, angivele nje ngilontoze afone athi okay sengayithumela ke le 1,000 rand yabona. Nefoni ngasiza ukuthi asifani. Yazi ngivele ngenzeni. Vele nje ngingalontoze delete number yakhe ngingarespondi ngikhiphe yonke lento yakhe.
Siyabonga kakhulu baba Anonymous. Thank you so much baba.
Ngithi ngizakule ndaba leyo ukuthi ngele ngibona ngakhona kushuthi kube ngiye ngarespond. I'm sure every month bengizothi makungena ipay yami I'm sure nayi disappears yabona. Ngingathi lonto leyo.
Siyabonga kakhulu baba nokuthi awuzange uyisende nale 1,000 rand nje eqaleni awuzange uzuhlukane namali. Siyabonga kakhulu baba ngecall yakho nokuthi uxwayise abanye abantu emphakathini. Very interesting. Hey gentlemen, baba Maluleke.
Very peculiar,
yeah.
But it's, we normally refer to it as advance fee fraud scam.
Okay.
If I know ukuthi badu no win a competition. Ba win a competition ukurelease ama funds la
ukhopha 50,000
ngithi ngawatshela ukuthi deducta le 50,000 kulo nyiwinile kumali le nyiwini so siyayibona iadvance ba manipulator bayenza ngathi ba deposit imali or ba transfer imali bangaya kuma ATM bafike bayenze ngathi ba deposit imali ba ithumele ku number yakho only to find out akunalutho lokufana nalo.
All right. So, gentlemen, thank you. But just a question from the floor here. Ilokhuza nawethu umbuzo lana uthi umuntu ube nemali ebank, ibank ilokhuza uthola ama notifications ukuthi imali yaphuma. Me bank ethu uya check ebank, they can't track ama transactions but akayireport kwi fraud division. I-fraud division ya freeze account. So no money was working, coming in and out, up until uthi Kwanda uze wafika kunina wayi-reporter, and there's been no feedback either from e-bank or nina. Singamsiza kanjani lo muntu?
So I think Tina, one of our mandates as the Ombudsman for Banking Services is obviously to receive these complaints, banking complaints, investigate them and hopefully resolve them. Now, with cases like this one from the floor, we have received the complaint. We are definitely investigating it. And in investigating that complaint, e-bank then will need to provide us with information as to when was this money taken from the account and where did it go to. And secondly, they need to show us what was used, how was this money taken. So was it via internet banking, was it a card transaction, or was it an online, for instance, card not present, for instance, did they use just your card details and all that information. So they need to investigate, come back with a report, provide that report, Gucci, and then Tina, we will study that report and investigating then, obviously, considerations of a refund if one is due, we need to obviously take that into account. And unfortunately, at this point, if obviously, there are timelines that we use in investigating. We have, for instance, we give the banks 20 business days to investigate and try and resolve that complaint with the complainant. And then if the complaint within those 20 business days is not resolved, then we take over. We treat it as a formal complaint. And then when we treat it as a formal complaint, we give a bank 15 days, 15 business days now to provide a response as the Ombudsman for banking services. Now, I'm not sure at which stage now a complaint CC is at, but as soon as we receive a response from a bank, we normally send a communication to CC to say we've received the bank's response, provide UCC with the bank's response for her as well to have a look. And if then we ask UCC if she's not happy with what she's receiving or with what the bank is saying, then we continue then investigating. We give it to one of the lawyers at the office, and then the lawyer at the office will make contact with UCC if there is a need to ask further questions as to what happened.
Okay.
And then obviously investigate with the bank. And then we normally give ourselves all this process. If it is a very, very difficult complaint, it will take us maximum about 4 months.
Okay.
So,
and
like
how ama services wena biza malini but Kwanda, is it a free service bayeza nje bazolokhuza and like njengoba ushilo ukuthi iprocess isebenza kanjani, do they pay for those services kwenzakalani?
No, like the investigating of these complaints and the education that we do and the awareness, the workshops that we do, everything is free. We do this for free. Anyone can invite us and we can provide education and awareness for free of charge. We also resolve these complaints for free of charge. No one pays anything.
Awesome stuff. But Babu Maluleke, is it feasible or possible for a bank to say they cannot track where the transactions went or where the money went to? Is that even possible?
Because
is that an acceptable answer?
Lento le ayicacanga kahle because kune audit trail from the bank system.
I would presume that.
Ihamba ithenga umbani or ihamba nge-transaction
That's why we have
online
bank
or
statements.
And in this case, in a scenario, kune ama notification, SMS notification, which normally the bank sends out when there's any transaction on your bank.
So what's the problem here?
It will be interesting. Let's look at that case and see born and arty from investigation. As Baba Kwanda, she's still on the investigation process because there should be an audit where there should be a line, a comparison where did those funds go to and who's the beneficiary. In there, that beneficiary information, by prosecutor.
Siyabonga kakhulu gentlemen, thank you so much for explaining that. Siyathemba ke mbukela ukuthi nawe mangabe unenkinga enjalo usulitholile usizo. Ithi banking ombudsman i-process yabo everything is free. Ningascamwa ke abanye abantu abazothi bayanicharge balethiza ukuthi bazonisiza. Let's take another quick break. We'll be back shortly after this. Bukeli, you're watching Yilungelo Lakho nomangcolosi ke namhlanje bukeli sikhuluma ngama banking scams nayo yonke into emayelana nokuthi imali yakho nje uyithola ukuthi isiyabaleka awazi nokuthi ihambe kanjani ngoba wena ushiya ikhadi lakho mhlambe kubudedengu noma awunakile ifoni yakho ukuthi khona abantu abangenayo. Alternatively khona laba bakufonelayo noma bakusendele WhatsApp, sicela ukuthi usifonele la e-studio usitshela ukuthi wena ke bakwenze njani ukuze sikwazi phela ukuthi sikusende. My guest today Kwanda Vabaza, the Manager of Communications from the Ombudsman's Office here, Banking Services, alongside Ntshiki Maluleke, the Head of SABRIC Center of Excellence. Asitate Anonymous, all the way from Ematatiela. Anonymous, thank you so much for joining us. Molweni sis. Molo mama kanjani?
Ngiyaphila njani?
Ndiphilile mama, ngicela wehlisa ivolume yakho kancinci mama so that sizawuvana.
Okay.
Uyandiva ke ngoku mama?
Ngiyakuva.
Ndiyakuva nami ke mama. Hayi ungasicelela kudaba lakho mama sikuncede. Ngicela wehlise mama ivolume nisaziva apha emva. Ngicela uyicime.
Okay, ngiyehlisile.
Icime mama.
Ngiyehlisile.
Ndisaziva. Okay, ndisaziva mama, ngeke ngikwazi ukuba ndikuva uba uthini xa ungayehlisanga okanye uyicime. Mama?
Yes.
Okay, ngicela uyicime mama. Uzabuya uyijonge pha xa sesikwi repeat ngomso at 11 o'clock. Okay, all right. Mama, are you still there? Okay, all right, sizawuzama futhi nomama because it seems like we are struggling to get a hold of isound yakhe iyadistort ambukeli. Siyacela ukuthi uma usifonela, uma ngizizwa mina it means ukuthi wena ngeke ababukeli bakuza ukuthi uthini because isound izolokhuza iya computer. But anyway, let's hope ukuthi anonymous uzophinde asifonele. All right, so gentlemen, maybe let's talk about Tatu Maluleke. What are some of the measures that have been put in place by banks then to protect our customers wabo? Because I think that's where we need to also start saying the guardrail starts with them, Uba, because these are your customers. So what measures have been put in place by banks and that you've insisted on as a SABRIC to ensure Guti, even if consumers come through to you, you are able to then track Uba ama transactions ayapi and also maybe in certain cases be able to reimburse them imali ezithathiwe?
Absolutely. You see, go cybersecurity. Cybersecurity say enhance our banks and even our websites, but make sure with our firewall proof and abantu babele make sure with maba transact ku official bank website. Le secure. It's HTTPS. Ukhomba ukuthi secure lapho ku web address.
Okay.
So balekile ukuthi umuntu I check double check before doing any transactions. And subona na kuma banking apps. I-banking apps zihlala zi-updatewa, zihlala zipatchwa kakhulu because umuntu bathi update that app or kuma Android wethu or alternatively ku iOS wethu sithi update. But mostly sibona abantu aba-update because usaba ukuthi idla data. So those are the challenges. Although singaba ne world-class banking systems, lesiyibona.
I-proactiveness iyadingeka from consumers as well.
Absolutely. And that's why we will never dare give up on awareness. We keep city they are my tips. Sibanika my tips to know, update and make sure that when you transact on a safe website. Don't transact on Wi-Fi spaces. Why are we not? Because I'm a cyber criminals, cyber actors, base kuma Wi-Fi spaces, balinde gona uti ba harvest ama pin codes, passwords, and ba kwazi uti ba log in officially. We bona ihamba literally imali yakho ubusy ngama transaction because
Twitter wena
ubona ama notification down nanzi imali yami.
And Maluleke, thank you for raising that point because this is also another issue that I wanted to get into. I mean, we always hear warnings about when you go into a mall or a public space, but please do not use that public Wi-Fi, especially if you've got banking information or apps on your phone. Suyisebenzisa leyo phone. Why do you say that? Maybe Kwanda can come in afterwards.
Absolutely. Siyabona ukuthi ama cyber actors bane AI lezithile bakwazi ukuthi bona ba create ngingahamba i-Wi-Fi space yami but ngikwazi ukuthi ngiyenza ngiharvesta information yakho majani wena mawuqeda uyeqofa uthatha uthi awuthi ngiyibone ku Twitter awuthi ngiyibone ku social media yami unginika a password and user details. Ngiyakwazi ukuharvest. And what we have noticed.
But we like free things. Free Wi-Fi is so alluring.
And okwamanje sithola ukuthi siyenza i-one password asi-update. Kuma data breaches leyo siyabona. Uthola ukuthi kune-data breach, update your password. It should be inherent on us. What is say updated password lento nama pin code on a monthly or bi-monthly basis. Why are we saying that? Because sakwazi with Baba say information you could compromise. On the other hand, you have at least took measures to safeguard your space, which we updated the password recently. But
Maluleke, we are so lazy. But Kwanda, I mean, let's talk about these consumers who are not technologically savvy and don't even have a banking app, but still do fall victim to lama banking scams. How do we then assist those ones?
I think essentially, unfortunately, the fact that you do not have a banking app The fact that you do not have a banking app, unfortunately, does not protect you from these scams. I mean, e-vishing, I think that's where it comes in.
Yes.
Unfortunately, as soon as, and we see a lot of it happening, these people, they do get calls and they, bank customers, they compromise their card numbers, banking details, their information, and fraudsters are then able to register them. Kuma banking apps. We've seen such complaints.
Yeah.
We've seen such complaints, and unfortunately, once that happens, you've given basically your keys to the safe, and they withdraw all the monies.
And you can't help them in that situation because then the onus is upon that customer. Uba, they need to take care of the information. Yeah.
Especially when they receive an OTP saying, "Are you registering for a mobile banking app?" And then you say yes. Or you give that OTP to the fraudsters and then they're able to. Then in that situation, asikwazi ukusiza abantu.
Okay, all right, thank you, but Kwanda. Let's take Uvuyokazi on the line before Siyekefin. Uvuyokazi, thank you so much for joining us. Ngakusiza kanjani namhlanje?
Hello, Sandra, ndibulise apha studio kuni kubo tata nani mama ndibulise.
Ewe mama.
Ingxaki yam mna on Thursday sithume utata usandipele imali eLondon ebhenki. So athi ikhadi lidliwe ngumtshini. So lidliwe ngumtshini njalo nje ndithi ke mna ke athi mandiyibloke.
Yes.
Yabona? Ndiyibloke ikhadi manje ndiyangena ku-app imali ibeyiphuma 1,250.
Yes.
Ibe iphuma mara kodwa uthi ikhadi litshone emtshinini.
Okay.
And abasadrowi kuyo yona le bhenki leyo.
Okay.
Abantu labo seyiphuma kwenye ibhenki ithi FNB SSC.
Okay.
FNB SSC khona njalo bayadrowa khona sebedrowa ke ngoku-electric kule 1,250.
Okay.
So mna ndizibuza umbuzo
Yebo sisivuyokazi, go ahead.
Ndizibuza umbuzo oyi-one, uthi ikhadi litshiwe ngumtshini so sekudrowa kwenye ibhenki kwenzeka kanjani ukuthi idrowe kwenye ibhenki ngoba ikhadi lidliwe ngumtshini?
Okay.
Uthi makanifowunela yena uthi ikhadi ume phambi komtshini.
Okay. All right. And then sisivuyokazi xa bethatha inantsika i-bank card yakho xa ityiwa i-ATM kukho umuntu okuncedile pha okanye kwenzakaleni uba I mean uzuthetha nalo muntu okuxelela ukuba inantsika ikhadi yakho ityiwe i-bank but you must go inside but you can't find and imali iyahamba at the same time?
Uthi yena akabonanga yena uvele wama kumshini so eme kumshini njalo nje edrowa kanjalo abantu bebesemva kwakhe uthi lo muntu lo bacabanga ukuthi uhamba naye kunomuntu bemile empeni kwakhe.
Okay, sisivuyokazi.
Yena akabhekanga ebhenki.
Okay, sisivuyokazi, sicela umamela lapho kumabona kude wakho sisi wami siza kuphendula xa sibuya kwikhefu mbukeli. Let's take our final ad break. Siyabuya siphendule usisivuyokazi and maybe I might just give one person a chance to call in and then bese ngiyalivala uhlelo. Don't go anywhere. It is our final segment. I'm still with Kwanda Vabaza, Communications Ombuds for Banking Services. Ntshiki Maluleke, the head of SABRIC. Babu Maluleke, singamphendula kanjani usisivuyokazi eLokhuzeni eKatlehong?
Siyabona lapha kube ne-skimming. It's either card swapping at the ATM and sihlala si-communicate kakhulu sithi ninga don't let anybody into your circle ukuthi akusize kuma ATM or alternatively ungavumi ukuthi uye ku ATM ufake ikhadi mali engaphumi ukathola aliretainwanga but mawufake lapha bachange bakwazi ukuchange nama language because lama langa sibone ama languages or baba change ama types of transaction. It's still in limbo.
Okay.
So uthola umuntu akazwisisi that city familiarize yourself with the ATM.
All right. Okay, but Kwanda, I mean, let's close the show on a proper note. Yini wena ungayixwayisa abantu njengoba kuyi festive season abantu igebengu zilinde ema mall nama computers laba abahlala ema restaurant ungazuthi benzani kanti ba busy balinde ukuthi niloga ko Wi-Fi. Sibasiza kanjani abantu? What can they do to be more vigilant?
I think just to be quick, if you lose your phone, please immediately report that loss, especially if you have a banking app, to your bank so that it is immediately cancelled. At the ATM, be vigilant. It does happen, and it will happen this festive, that a lot of fraudsters or scammers will be the criminals trying to rob people via card swaps and skimmings and all that. It will be happening. If you're going to be buying things online, make sure you buy from a secure site. With a lock, it has a lock, or HTTP with an S. That's secure. And then for those who are going to be buying things online, especially those that have not seen what they're buying, please do not first make a payment without first verifying that what you're buying does actually exist.
Thank you, gentlemen. Wow, ngiyabonga insizwa zami ubhuti Kwanda Vabaza from the Ombudsman for Banking Services alongside Ntshiki Maluleke, the head of a SABRIC Center of Excellence. Mbukeli, that's where we wrap the show namhlanje. Sithemba ukuthi we've made inroads ukuthi sizama ukunixwayisa bakwethu, please be careful, you know ukuthi siyanithanda this festive season. Sicela ukuthi nibe safe, singabuyi next year nisitshela ukuthi senilahleke lo 30,000 nezimali zeingane zama school uniform. Umajali unithanda nonke emakhaya. Bye-bye.